Here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. This is another edition of KnicksFanTV Live, Knicks Weekly, the weekly recap show where we dig in on the latest news and rumors for the New York Knicks. Tonight's show, we are doing our mock draft, our interactive mock draft, part 1, where you will vote on who the Knicks select at number 11. We got some updates on Mitchell Robinson free agency. Talk about that. And we will react to last night's Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals game between the Heat and the Celtics and dish on some NBA Finals predictions. So lock in, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, hit that subscribe button. Salute to everybody in the chat joining us tonight. CP the Franchise here, Alex Sotaros. We got Chip Murphy in the building. And my guy, Corey Tulba of the No Ceilings podcast returning. Fellas, welcome to the show. We got Rangers Game 7 going on, 3-0 Rangers right now. So I'm in a good mood.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in a good mood. I get on my bandwagon hockey stuff when the Rangers make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, yeah, good stuff by the Rangers on the road right now. Shout out to Jay Boogie, who's at the game right now, representing us very well. So shout out to Jay Boogie's in there with his custom Jay Boogie Rangers jersey on. So we have some representation in there. All right, fellas, let's jump right into it, man. The mock draft. The names have been picked. The names have been drawn. I'm gonna go first. Corey, you'll go second. Chip, you'll go third, and then Alex, you'll go fourth. And then how it'll work is once we get to 11. The people in the chat, call us up. 657-383-1509 is the number to call, or hit us up on the KnicksFanTV Discord. And you're going to nominate the 4 people that you want to see selected with the number 11 pick. And then we will have the people in the chat vote on that pick. All right, so it's going to be interactive. The people are going to decide. You're going to put your GM hats on, and the people will decide who will represent the orange and blue in this 2022 NBA draft. So let's kick it off. I'm going to go over to my draft board here. Let me just get this, get my draft board up. Okay. All right, close that out. Okay, got the draft board up. So I'll go first, representing the Orlando Magic. A perennial lottery team. You know, it's a lot of smoke, I think, on the whole Jabari Smith thing. I don't see the Magic passing up on Chet Holmgren. You know, potential generational athlete, all-around game, a defensive force. You know, offensively, you know, he's moving like a guard out there. The size is certainly an issue. You know, Knicks fans coming from the Porzingis days, the size definitely concerns me. The frame definitely concerns me. But, I mean, the tools that the kid brings, the Magic need everything and the kitchen sink right now. You take this guy as your franchise big for years to come. So I'm going with Chet Holmgren with the Orlando Magic. Corey up next.
So you made the right pick for Orlando, CP. I had a front office executive text me recently and go, keep all of your Chet stock. Just spent 3 days with him. Kid has shown 20% of his bag. Keep all your stock. So I'm with you too. I think Orlando, they always value those long, versatile, you know, from Larry Sanders to Giannis to Jonathan Isaac to, you know, Obama. You know, that's their type. Now that, you know, I was kind of hoping you're going to go with consensus there, because now OKC, it puts me in a bind. I'm going to take Paolo Banchero for OKC. I'm going to take Paolo Banchero.
I like that.
A guy I've seen, I saw live multiple times this year. A guy who 6'10", 250, can play with the ball in his hands, make plays for others. Has all of the tools that you want. He could probably play in a playoff game today. The talent is overwhelming. I do have my questions. You know, seeing him live, how much is there a little Ben Simmons in him from the perspective of, like, does he want to get better like Jabari Smith might want to get better? I do have those questions. Is he going to be a killer every minute he's on the court? But man, that package, that size, with those tools, that's hard to pass up. So I'm gonna take him for OKC and pair him with SGA and Giddey and,
I like that.
And Trey Mann and just go for the most talented guy left, in my opinion.
I like that. So Paolo Banchero off the board, Chip. Rockets up next.
Wow, yeah. I thought I was going to be taking Paolo for sure. I'm taking Jabari, obviously, here, who's the most talented guy left. And I don't think I haven't seen him much linked with Houston here, but if he's the guy left, Houston is definitely taking him. He's, first of all, Christian Wood, I think, is on his way out of there, and he slides right into the Christian Wood spot. Mm-hmm. I think you got to take best player available if you're Houston, but he can just do so many things. Like he pulls up for three. He can handle the ball. He can lead the fast break. He can play defense. He can, everybody talks about big man switchability. He can switch on the perimeter. He can do pretty much everything that you need a guy to do. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses right now. And if you're Houston and you need everything, you're in a position where you got to take the best talent available. And with, whether you like Holmgren or Paolo more or not, at this point, Jabari is going to be the best guy there, and you go with Jabari.
All right, so Jabari Smith going to the Houston Rockets. Al, you up next. Sacramento Kings on the board. Are you going with another point guard? What are you doing?
See, this is the question, right? This is the Sacramento Kings. We know that they have De'Aaron Fox on a long-term deal. They got Davion Mitchell last season. They just traded Tyrese Halliburton. Do you want to go in that same direction of taking the best player available, which the Kings have been known to do? But then it just kind of mucks up everything over in Sacramento. So I'm kind of feeling that. I feel like we've heard the rumors that they would want to trade out of this pick, that there's some of them trying to see what the value is. But for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to throw you guys off a little bit. I'm going to go Shaedon Sharpe. And go with the wing combo for the Sacramento Kings. They need some depth over there. Sure. You got Harrison Barnes, but I think they need to go a little bit younger and get a little bit more athletic. Take a guy who can score. So Kings taking Shaedon Sharpe and shocking the entire NBA world.
Wow. Very interesting pick. Shaedon Sharpe going to the Sacramento Kings. I would think they would go a little bit safer, just given, their draft history and, that GM kind of being on the ropes there. I think and Corey and Chip weigh in, but I think Sacramento would lean a little bit safer with the pick. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that first you got to realize, sometimes their owner gets involved a little bit too in these decisions.
So the owner calls the shots. Yeah.
So it could be a little wild card with the owner in that situation, but this is, Shaedon Sharpe's interesting because it's not outlandish to see him going that high, just based on that raw talent. Everything is effortless with that kid. The bounce, the shot making, and you look at the success that guys like Ant Edwards and Jalen Green have had, and you could see him in that role. But as you said, it's a hard sell to your fan base to not bring in Jaden Ivey, who, just had a video go viral because they chopped it up to make him look exactly like Ja Morant. Yeah. So, but look, if they took Shaedon Sharpe, it honestly wouldn't shock me, I'll say.
That Ja Morant narrative been getting pushed all year long. His agent has been doing CA has been doing a good job for a long time. But no, I think Sacramento would regret big time if they passed on Jaden Ivey. And if I'm Detroit, I'm rushing to the podium to take him. I think that would be a huge mistake by Sacramento to pass on Ivey. And that's not necessarily because I'm down on Sharpe. I just think Ivey's going to be better. I think he's going to be amazing.
But I think what you got to think of is what are the Kings going? I think the Kings are probably going to want to see what they can get for a haul. But since we're not doing trading out, I could see, there's some mock drafts that have Shaedon Sharpe going this high. But I think for the Kings at this point, it really comes down to why not take that big upside swing at trying to fill out the position, because otherwise you're just stockpiling guards. And unless you're trying to move Davion Mitchell and do we know the value, what Mitchell is worth? Or are you going to take that gamble? Or are you going to try to be on the hook for De'Aaron Fox again? I don't know if they want to be put in that position if they're trying to win. Wouldn't you want to just try to fill out the roster and still take some upside on a player? That's kind of my thinking when it comes to Sacramento Kings and taking this pick.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We're doing our interactive mock draft. The number 11 pick is going to be voted on by the fans. So as we get closer, call us up 657-383-1509 with your nominations for the 11th pick, and then we will have the chat vote on who the pick will be. So since Shadon Sharp is off the board, obviously for Detroit Pistons, I'm going with Jaden Ivey. You know, the dynamics that he brings, the athleticism, the electricity, capable 3-level scorer, quick first step, elite first step. You know, absolutely elite first step. Yeah, he needs to work on his defense, and you know, people want to do the job comparisons. You know, I'm not gonna go that far, but still a really, really excellent player, and a kid that could be a star. And the good thing is he goes to Detroit. He doesn't have to, you know, carry the responsibility as a primary ball handler, you know, because Cade is there. Cade can do that. Then you also have Sadiq Bey, who I thought had a great year last year. You know, his scoring ability was really on display. So you got a nice little budding young core, a young three there for Detroit, who, you know, is in sore need of just improving, man, and getting out of the basement. So Jaden Ivey to Detroit is the obvious move for me here. All right, Corey.
That's the easiest pick of the draft so far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Easy one then. All right, where you going next? The Pacers on the board.
For the Indiana Pacers, I'm going with Keegan Murray, who is a guy that I think he's, in my opinion, the guy that could shake up that top four, if any. That's what I've heard is that he's maybe the guy that could slot in there. 6'8", 7+ wingspan, 220, versatile, can play with the ball in his hands, knocks down threes, defends, can protect the rim. He's the modern NBA. This is what every team is looking for. This is the type of player that you could say, can he play in a playoff series down the line? Is he going to get played off the floor? This is what it looks like, you know. When I saw him live earlier this year behind the bench, the most locked in I had seen out of any of the guys that I've seen. I've probably seen a third of the top 60 guys live, and he impressed me the most. Getting there early, having shoot around, seeing him locked in. How is he interacting with his teammates? What's his level of focus? I mean, I was really, really impressed by him, and then he obviously had a monster season. So to me, he's going to be beloved in that spot. I think they'll hang on to him for a long time. He fits in with Tyrese Halliburton and whatever else they're building with Duarte and Isaiah Jackson. So I think great fit and great value for Indiana there. And before we move on to Portland, I just want to say shout out to my guy Mike Schmitz.
Yeah,
big congratulations.
Yeah.
Big move.
Mike's been one of my mentors. He's legitimately the nicest guy I've met in hoops media, supportive, the hardest worker, doing the work. So well deserved.
Yeah.
And Portland, I'm shocked it took this long for a team to scoop him up for this draft stuff.
That's right, because you were working with him at ESPN, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's a guy, he could have looked at somebody like me who was trying to step in his territory and been like, nah, like I'm not, and he helped me, with so much. So just a genuinely good guy. And I'm so, I'm proud of him that he's getting this opportunity because it's very well deserved.
That's dope. All right, Chip on the clock. The number 7 pick with the Blazers. We're hearing rumors that they're looking to trade that pick. They want to build around Dame. They're trying to win now with Dame. Do they use the number 7 pick? Is this going somewhere else? What do you think, man? Where are you going with this pick?
This is kind of like Alex with the Kings. I think this may be the most likely pick to get traded. Yeah, so this is kind of a hard one to pick, but this may be a reach, but I went with Jeremy Sohan here because, and I know I haven't seen him go this high in a lot of mocks, but their defense is always so bad. They were dead last this year. I think they were 29th last year and 28th the year before. I know their offense wasn't great this year, but I think they need to prioritize defense. And he is one of, if not the best defensive prospects in this draft. He can guard all 5 positions. he's a guy who has a lot of upside on the offensive end, I think, too. If that, obviously, the first thing you read about him, if the jump shot ever comes around, he's one of those guys. But he can handle the ball well, high motor guy. I just think if you're Portland, whether you're building around Dame or you're building for the future, it doesn't really matter. You need to prioritize defense if you're making this pick. And defense and upside. And I think he's a guy who will really help some on both ends of that.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like this pick is going to end up in Detroit in some sort of Jeremy Grant deal. And so in that regard, I think if Detroit lands either a Sharp or an Ivy, I think they go big man here. It could be a Durant. Well, I don't, maybe it could be a Durant. Could be, maybe it's a Mark Williams. But I think this one ends up in Detroit. And also, if Portland does keep it, yeah, you're definitely right, man. They really do need wing defense in the worst way. I don't think Sohan would be a bad pick. I like Mathurin at that slot as well, for obviously the offensive potential. But I like that pick. Al, where are you going with the 8th pick and the Pelicans?
This is an interesting selection for the Pelicans. They got Kyra Lewis down there. They got who's the other point guard they got there? Is it Graham that they have down there as well?
Yep, Devontae Graham's there.
Yeah, they got Devontae Graham as well. So they got point guards down there. They got Jose down there as well. They're solid at the center position with Valanciunas. At this point, you got Zion, so you got your
Ingram.
4. You can play 5. Yeah, you got Ingram down there too. At this point, if
CJ.
anything, I feel like they got everybody. They got everybody. They got
depth.
I think if anything, they got depth. So if anything, they're going. I feel like the only thing that they can do is just go add more wings just to groom and develop. And we got a plethora right now between Benedict Mathurin. We got AJ Griffin on the board. We got Johnny Davis. The question is, what type of wing do they want? Do they want someone who's going to come in and play 3 and D off the bat? Even though they have Trey Murphy down there, or do they want someone who's going to be a little bit more of an offensive creator for themselves? And this is where I'm probably going to lean. I think I'll go Benedict Mathurin for the Pelicans. I feel like the upside is there, the athleticism is there. He can knock down the 3. You could potentially get some solid defense out of him. I feel like that's the pick that the Pelicans are going to go in that direction. Just add to their wing depth. Just because I don't see anyone replacing Valanciunas, and I don't know if they want to go Ty Washington at the point guard and draft another guard to go behind Devontae Graham, Jose Altuve. Altuve. thinking baseball right now. Thinking baseball. I'm in baseball mode right now. I don't see them going with a guard. I think Benedict Mathurin is the guy right now.
Benedict Mathurin going to the Pelicans. That'd be a nice pickup, man. That would definitely be a nice pickup. Corey, what would you think about a Mathurin to the Pels scoop?
I think Mathurin is a guy who could slot in almost anywhere, because while he does have the potential to eventually play with the ball in his hands a little bit out on the wing, I think he's showing flashes of doing that. He can shoot off movement. He could spot up. He gets out in transition. He cuts to the hoop. I mean, he had such great chemistry with Dalen Terry, where he was just backdoor cutting people for monster dunks. And you're thinking that Ingram's going to have the ball in his hands. CJ's going to have the ball in his hands. Zion's going to have the ball in his hands. You got to be able to play without the ball in your hands. He's a big wing who's athletic and can knock down threes, doesn't need the ball in his hands. It sounds like, the kind of guy you would want next to all of those guys who are going to be your high usage star players. So just the potential that he has, along with the fact that he's a good fit, I think it's great value for them in that spot.
Yeah, and we talked about how much depth New Orleans has, but they were 28th in threes made last year. So they could use adding some shooting.
Yeah. And, with the Spurs up next, I think speaking of shooting, I think the Spurs are another team in need of shooting. They have some nice pieces, a nice young core. Obviously, the point guard is dynamic with Murray. They added another young point guard, another young guard in Primo. They have Devin Vassell, who they drafted in the top-end draft a couple years ago. Keldon Johnson, another kid on the rise. So they have a nice core, but I think they could use some more punch on the offensive side. And so I'm going with A.J. Griffin here, 48% from three. Obviously, the defense is going to be questionable for Pop. The injury, the durability, yeah, that'll go in question as well. But I think he'd be a nice fit for this Spurs system. I think he'd be nice playing off of Murray. And so I'm going with AJ Griffin here with the Spurs. Number 9
that
pick.
Feels like a very Spurs pick. Like just to take a shot on him, a very Spurs pick. Yeah, I've seen Duran there a lot to him because they don't have any bigs. But him to sneak there to the Spurs and for them to get a steal, it'd be such a good pick for them. It just feels like something that could happen for them.
Corey, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm a big AJ Griffin guy. Big AJ Griffin guy. I don't think he showed anything close to what he's capable of as an offensive player at Duke. And obviously we know him as this sniper guy but in high school, if you watched him, he was this guy who played with the ball in his hands, was a slasher, could create his own shot. And he came in coming off injury. He was just trying to fit in. He was playing off of Trevor Keels and Wendell Moore, and Jeremy Roach, and even Paulo had the ball, like all of these guys. And he was like, all right, how do I star in my role? And that was, let me cut to the hoop, keep the game simple, run in transition, space the floor, knock down open shots. And then he would show flashes every now and then. Like when I saw him against Miami in the ACC tournament, he went on a little run where you're like, oh boy, like this dude, and again, can he play in the playoffs? Like this dude is Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown. He's cut from the same cloth as far as like build. And so I'm a big fan of AJ Griffin. I think he might wow some people in interviews and workouts. And I could see him going higher than this easily. So this is fantastic value for San Antonio.
Yeah. There's always a lot of stars on Duke, and there's always somebody who gets lost in the shuffle there. Like Gary Trent Jr. really got lost in the shuffle at Duke, and it took a while for him to pop in the NBA. Wendell Carter Jr., same thing. There's always something that happens like that, and he could be somebody like that where he got a little bit overlooked there because of Paolo, and Paolo dominated the ball there. And he didn't get as many looks as he did, like Corey said, in high school. He was great, and he walked into more of a spot-up shooter role. But I just think he can be a stud too. I think he's like Corey said, he hasn't shown anywhere yet to close to where he can be.
AJ Griffin to the Spurs. We are 2 picks away, ladies and gentlemen, from the Knicks pick. Call us up, 657-383-1509. Let us know who you nominate for the number 11 pick. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP the Franchise here. We got Alex Rotaros, Corey Tulliver from No Ceilings Podcast, and my guy Chip Murphy at KnicksFanTV.com. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you guys are following these guys on social media. We'll give them a chance to put their tags out there, especially by the end of the show. So make sure you guys are following these guys, man. Excellent draft content and analysis as well. Remember that this show is sponsored by Manscaped, fellas. Go out there and get your lawnmower 4.0. It's heating up out here. Hit at least 90 degrees out here in New York, man. So make sure that you guys are taking care of business down there before you guys are stepping outside, going out on those dates. Go to Manscaped. They got a number of products for you guys, including the Lawnmower 4.0, an assortment of shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all that good stuff, deodorant, cologne. They have everything. So check them out, manscaped.com. Promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. All right, here we go. Corey up next with the 10th pick. The Washington Wizards select.
All right, so this is a somewhat easy pick for me. I'm looking at their lineup. First, I'm looking at Kristaps. I'm looking at Rui Hachimura. I'm looking at Denny Avdia, Tomas Satoransky, Raul Neto. These guys like their international flavor. And then I'm looking at Tomas Satoransky, looking at Ish Smith, Cassius Winston, Raul Neto, and I'm looking at a point guard crop that I'm not very confident in. So I'm going to hit best of both worlds. I'm taking the Aussie, Dyson Daniels.
There we go.
To the Washington Wizards. Fits in next to Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Big wing. Can guard the guys that he's not going to be guarding. can play off him with the ball in his hands, without the ball in his hands, fits in. You got a big jumbo lineup with Daniels and Denny and Kuzma and, all these wings. He's modern, he fits, and I think he's the best value here at the same time. So I'm taking Dyson Daniels from the G League Ignite to the Washington Wizards.
Like that pickup, man. Chip, what were your thoughts on Daniels?
Yeah, I like Daniels a lot. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is he going to be available at 10? Because I've seen that he's like rising up. But yeah, he's going to be there. Yeah. That's because I thought he was going to be there at 11 at some point. But no, I really like him. Yeah, for sure. Defensively, particularly, I think he's going to be really good. But no, I'm high on Daniels for sure. I like that pick for Washington. I was thinking about Davis for Washington too.
It crossed my mind.
Well, Davis is available for the New York Knicks. So here we go. I'm going to go to the phones right now, and we're going to get 4 nominees for the 11th pick. TM, just if you can set up the poll in the chat once we get our 4 nominees, and then we'll have the chat vote. So let's go to the first caller. Let's go to area code 919. 919. What's your name? Where are you calling in from? Is this Jay Boogie?
Salute. This 3 capital S. Yeah, it's Jay Boogie. You know who this is. Ain't nobody else but Jay Boogie.
Let's go.
I'm in between the second and third quarter. I wanted to come down and just show some love real quick. I'm on my Ranger thing right now. We up 3-0. But if I got that 11th pick, it's taco time. When I tell you it's taco time, it's Davis time. So go ahead and put him in, you know what I'm saying? And slide him right on in and make a deal and start trading Cam up out of there because he showed us that he's not, wanting to be a New York Knicks. Now you got somebody that's already getting commercials, already ready to go. Mr. Mid-Range himself, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Davis. Salute, 3 capital S's. But real quick, I'm calling early because breaking news. And CP already done broke the news. Shout out to everybody on the panel board right now. Shout out to everybody rocking that orange and blue. But the breaking news is already be broke. I don't care nothing else about the draft. My man has just made history. And you're going to be in a position where we all knew you was going to be. That's why we support you. That's why we stand behind you. That's why we push you. That's why every day when you press that button, you go on. That's why we up here supporting, helping you move and get to where you need to go. Because when you get to go where you need to go, guess what? All of us is getting to go where we need to go. You know what I'm saying? That's just a door being open, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm in between the second and third quarter. Time for me to get back to the Ranger game. But God bless everybody. Continue on staying healthy and safe. And I'm going to see y'all in the next round. Salute. 3 capital S's. I know it's a mock draft, but welcome, Mr. Davis.
Let's go. Salute to Jay Boogie. Those were 5s in the chat for Jay Boogie, man. That guy took the timeout from Game 7 of a critical Ranger game right now in Carolina to one, put his vote in for the mock draft. And salute to KnicksFanTV, man. Salute to the closer, Jay Boogie. Always entertaining call. All right, so we got one in here in Johnny Davis. Al, let me just fix your monitor. One of my monitors froze up here. Hang on. All right. Okay, I got Al going. Okay, so Johnny Davis is 1. So we got 1. Okay, next up, area code 631. What's your name? Where you calling in from? And who's your vote?
Gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes. Is this Tom from Huntington?
Yes, it is. First off, Manscaped, PrizePicks, let's go.
Let's go.
Having me follow up Jay Boogie, I feel like a rapper back in the days following up DMX in concert. It's not going to be that exciting, but I have to go with Johnny Taco Bell Davis.
Okay.
That's my guy. I told you he was killing double, triple teams in college. I think he's going to kill it in the NBA. People are sleeping on him. He plays crazy defense like Tibbs will like. If he falls here, which I don't think he will, if he falls here, they better run up and get him. Guys, have a wonderful evening. Great work like always. We'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate that. All right, so another one for Johnny Davis. Let's go area code 732. 732. What's your name? Where you calling in from? And who's your pick?
Que lo que. Wow.
Let's go. Dan from New Jersey in the building. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling well. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a huge Rutgers fan, and I was in the building the day that Johnny Davis stepped in against us. And usually I could tell if somebody's going to be a lottery pick or not by how they play against Rutgers. Because, listen, those boys at Rutgers, they be hacking, man. They be hacking. They foul. And they call that man. I could tell you that. They be hacking. And let me tell you, Johnny Davis dropped a cool 20, 30 something on us, beat us by about 15, 16, made every single one of his free throws. I think he might have taken about 10 or 11. And the whole time he was the public had to be number one in the building. Everybody was yelling at him, "Oh, Johnny Davis, you're gonna go play in New Zealand." Oh, like that man has ice in his veins. But just for the sake of throwing in a new name, I want to put in that I am pretty high on Jeremy Sohan. But I do believe that after seeing him live, Johnny Davis is the guy. Tell me what you guys think about that.
All right, appreciate the call, man. Let me get through. Well, we'll see who else's name is in the ring. Because so far we got 3 for Johnny Davis. Area code 347. What's your name? Where you calling in from? And who's your pick? 347. Going once.
Yo, can you?
Oh, we got him. Yeah, go ahead. We got you now. Go ahead.
What's going on, man? This is Ghost from Queens.
Ghost, what's good?
What's going on, man? Yo, CP, I just want to say congrats on the NBA series deal that you got going on, man.
Appreciate
Long-time listener. You know, I appreciate everything you've done, man, giving us a platform and having this, rapport with us, man. You're really a guy for the people, so I just want to say keep doing your thing.
Thanks a lot.
And my pick for the 11th pick in this mock draft is going to be Johnny Davis, man. I'm sorry, man. I can't really go against the grain. You feel me? This guy, Johnny Davis, is the truth, man. Like, I don't care how many tacos he eats. I know he's not going to get fat like I am. This kid is a rabid pit bull, man. Like, he had a heavy workload at Wisconsin, but, he's doing his thing. I think he's going to translate to the NBA. I don't think the schedule is going to be too rough for him. Yeah, man. Like, he's the guy, man. So, look forward to hearing you guys talk about him more and, keep doing your thing.
All right, so I'm gonna go one more just to see if we switch it up a little bit, but seems like Johnny's the pick, man. Area code 646. What's your name? Where you calling in from? And who's your pick? Rangers scored again.
This is Jason from the Lower East Side.
Jason, LES. What's good, bro?
Well, I do like Johnny Davis. I'm gonna throw in Usman Jang.
Oh, okay.
I said this last time I called that if the Knicks right now don't really have rotation minutes, you bring in Jang. You put him in the G League, and you give him some time. And then next year or two, he's going to be a monster.
Okay. All right, appreciate the call, man. I don't think it makes sense to even put the poll up because Johnny Davis is going to be the winner. so let's go ahead. Al, I'll start with you, man. The thoughts of a Johnny Davis to the Knicks pickup.
I'd be stoked if the Knicks got John Davis. That's my guy. I know you sent out a tweet and a poll on IG asking him between the 4 of Dyson Daniels, Benedict Mathurin, AJ Griffin, and Davis. I had Davis third because I think the other guys just size-wise, playing off ball would be great next to RJ, but getting Johnny Davis, look, watching him play at Wisconsin, man, kid took the entire offensive load as a dog on defense. What I like about him is like what people rave about Deuce McBride. He played football in high school, played quarterback out in Wisconsin, played QB, and he's just tough, dude. I mean, you see that foot. Like, I like that he played 2 sports. I don't know how many sports he's played in total, but that football mentality of just being physical and being aggressive, I think that's going to help him translate to the NBA. And I can only imagine him, IQ, McBride, all those guys being out there, or even being next to RJ and Cam, just having like a big lineup. I think that's just going to be awesome, especially someone who could attack and finally shoot in the mid range. That's what we really need on this team too.
Chip.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. When you did the Instagram post, I had him second, but I only had Griffin first because I was just hoping he'd be there. I don't think he'll still be there, but I love Davis. And the mid-range thing that you said, Alex, I think you nailed it there. We need a guy who can create his own shot, pull up in the mid-range, someone who can make things easier for RJ so he doesn't need to be the only guy who can make it simple. Obviously, when Randall does it, it's a lot more difficult sometimes. And it just someone to make the game easier. And Johnny Davis can make the game easier on guys. And he doesn't always need the ball, too, I feel like. So I don't know. He's also a long ways away from getting better, from getting as good as he can be. I feel like the 3-point shot is going to get better. I buy the shot. The form's really good. He's much better than, I think he was 32% this year. I think he's much better than a 32% 3-point shooter. So took a lot of bad shots at Wisconsin because he played with not so great offensive players. Yeah, I I don't know. I think it'd be a great pick for us at 11.
Yeah, I think this would be a nice and safe pick for us. You know, as you guys touched on, the mid-range shooting ability is something that we certainly don't have. Having another shot creator in this lineup is something that we sorely need. The length, the size that he has, the defense, the hustle. Obviously, I think he'd fit right in here with Tibbs. You want a guy with a good mental makeup, and from what you read, by all accounts, he certainly has that. So I think this would be definitely a safe pick for us. Obviously, you want to see the three-point shot improve a little bit there. You know, you already have Archie, you already have Julius here, who, you know, aren't the greatest three-point shooters in this lineup. So you want to see some more balance there, and hopefully he can bring that. But again, being able to play off of these guys, I think will take some pressure off of him as well. We'll see how he handles, you know, getting separation, or what type of, you know, off-ball movement that Tibbs, quote-unquote, offense, you know, would prioritize for him. But I like this pickup for us. Definitely like this pickup for us. Corey, your thoughts?
Hey, Johnny Davis makes it to the Knicks. I'll get stamp it. I'll get a Knicks Johnny Davis jersey that night. He's got the New York mentality, man. Big time player, 37 on Jaden Ivey's head. Like,
that was a big
two-way
game.
guy. Dog, plays both sides of the floor. Better passer than given credit for. In that Purdue game, you know, understands, all right, I got it going. All the attention is on me. Now I'm getting my teammates involved. Made this like left-handed live dribble hit to the weak side corner, coming off a ball screen that his teammate didn't knock down. But like, just that kid, the load he had, how locked in. I mean, I think New York, the Garden, like, that kid's made for it.
Johnny Davis to the Knicks with the 11th pick. Chip, you're up next, 12 with the OKC Thunder. Where are you going there?
Well, I'm taking Ousmane Dieng. Yeah, and for the same the guy who just called in said that, for the same reason the guy who just called in said the Knicks should take him, because Sam Presti just took Paolo, who's going to help them win a game every once in a while, and he doesn't want to take anybody else who's going to help them win.
Right.
So he wants to take Dieng and send him down to the G League and let him develop every once in a while. Maybe play a game every once in a while. But yeah, he's looking for a draft and stash guy, or a guy he can put in the G League for a year. And Dieng is 19 and again shows a lot of potential. And I think that's the kind of guy, if they keep the pick here, that Presti is going to take.
Ousmane Dieng going to the OKC Thunder. Stratocaster, you're up next with the 13th pick, Charlotte Hornets.
I'm going with Mark Williams for the Charlotte Hornets. I think they got everything else that you need on that team. I think they finally need to invest in the center. For him, he's going to give you that off-ball defense. He's an interior scorer, gives you some solid offensive rebounding, just a solid overall rebounder just in general. I mean, they've had Mason Plumlee down there. I think he's fine and serviceable, but I think they really need to invest in getting someone who's a true center. And he's also good on the defensive side. Like, he's also a true shot blocker. So if you're going to have someone, you know, essentially what we're looking at of Mitch for the New York Knicks, I think that is what you can get out of Mark Williams, and potentially even more. You know, they saw him do, I think he took made 5 out of 9 like jumpers this season, like and maybe there's something that untapped potential over there. So maybe if they can get some offensive game out of him farther away from the basket, like 5 to 10 feet, that's even better for them, especially if you're gonna be running through a LaMelo. You got Bridges down there getting in motion. So I think Mark Williams is the pick for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I mean, center is a huge need for them. I think that would make the most sense. Or you can go Duren as well.
You got to play chess here, though. Yeah,
because they got 13 and 15.
They got 13 and 15, and look who's sandwiched between them. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers got Jared Allen. They got Evan Mobley. They got Lauri Markkanen. I don't know if they're taking a center. So if I'm Charlotte, because I agree with you, Mark Williams is a tremendous fit in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball. You're talking Lob City 2.0, right? But can you get him at 15 and play a little chess with Cleveland, take a wing, and then get your guy one pick later? So that's the only thing I'll say with that pick for the Hornets is, I think for the, this exercise where we're doing the lottery, But in real scenario there, unless somebody's trading up, I think they get their guy at 15 and get a wing ahead of him.
Interesting indeed. Chip, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I've seen Mark Williams to Charlotte in pretty much every mock draft that I've seen. I don't think he gets by Charlotte. I've seen him at 13, but what Corey says about them waiting at 15 to take him and taking like someone like Agbaji at 13 instead. I've seen they like him too. But no, I love Mark Williams. I think he's going to be great. Like with LaMelo too, he'll just be. And I think Alex nailed it too. I think people are really sleeping on the fact that he may be more than just a guy who can be a rim runner and a guy who can just dunk. Like I think he may be able to develop a post game. Like you see, he can shoot free throws. Like that's kind of a sign that he can bring his game out away from the basket. So I think he's got more offensive potential than he's being given credit for. And obviously he's already a really good defender. And Charlotte just is really thin at center. They just need a center. It's a perfect fit for them.
And with the last pick in the lottery, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, they had a good season. Missed out on the playoffs with the play-in loss. Good season by them. You know, you had an all-star year by Darius Garland. Obviously, Evan Mobley came on the scene and looked really good out there. Jared Allen played well. You had some good minutes. So Kevin Love off the bench, marketing. Cavs had a nice story. They did pick up Karis LeVert also. But I think that they could use some more scoring punch on that perimeter. Maybe, you know, the successor to LeVert. You have a Okoro in that lineup. He's not giving you any offensive punch. I think they go Jaden Hardy in here. Jaden Hardy. I think they go Jaden Hardy. Go take a swing on a wing bucket getter at a G League Ignite. 36.6, shot 36.6 on his catch and shoot threes from the G League. Obviously, his 3-point numbers need to improve a little bit. Only shot about 26% from three, so that wasn't all that great. But I think they take a swing here. You go to Jaden Hardy, see if you pair him up with Garland in the backcourt, and see if you can get that team a little bit more explosive there. Yeah, and that is it, man. And the Rangers score again, 5-0 Rangers. Rangers gonna win this Game 7 matchup. But Corey, where would you go with Cleveland there? What do you think about a Hardy pick?
So Hardy's interesting because this is a kid he was my preseason number 1 guy. You know, the player that he looked like coming out of high school, pulling up Steph range, like effortless. I'm not sure he ever hit the rim in high school as a shooter. Him struggling it isn't super surprising because one, he's playing against pros in the G League, the speed of the game. He's coming in a situation. He went high school to the pros. So he had that adjustment. He hadn't played a lot of high level ball. Like he wasn't in the FIBA tournaments, like some of these other guys getting reps. So that didn't shock me, but I just had a front office guy tell me like his workout was dumb impressive, like hit, like barely missed, you know, and it's a workout. You can't base your whole evaluation out of a workout, but just like you could tell, like body, the frame, the skill set, the shot making, he's like, this is a kid who's got it. I saw him in person. I saw probably the worst game he's ever played in person. He was 0 for 11 when they took on the Long Island Nets. So that was unfortunate, but watching his film, the strides that he took from the beginning of the season to the end of the season were major. Like the game slowed down for him and you could start seeing things click. I still think there's going to be an adjustment period, but like this is a kid who doesn't need the ball in his hands. I think he's got a lot of Buddy Hield in him. And you know, when you're playing with a guy like Garland, who is such a wizard with the ball in his hands, like this is a guy who's going to be able to find him in all of his spots. They have the defense to play behind him, so you don't have to worry so much about him not being like the same kind of lockdown guy some of these other guys might be. So it wouldn't shock me. Like Hardy in the lottery is starting to sound like something that could happen for sure. And for him, I think that's a great spot for him as a fit. Absolutely.
Chip, your thoughts on Hardy?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Perfect fit for him because he's not going to have such high expectations going in late in the lottery because he needs some time to develop. And that's the perfect spot for him. But I thought you were going to say Malachi Branham.
I was thinking
That's what. Yeah,
Ohio State connection. I was thinking that, but I went with Hardy. Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I like Malachi a lot, to be honest. I don't know. Jaden Hardy's a blind spot kind of for me. I don't know too much about him. Malachi is someone I'm really high on, and I would have I really like him now. I was actually thinking about kind of hoping that we would get some calls on him for the Knicks. I thought he would be interesting for the Knicks. I'm higher on Davis, but I think he's really interesting for us too.
All right, and so that is the lottery exercise. I thought that was a good one. I think we made some pretty realistic picks. We'll see what happens on June 23rd, but Johnny Davis is the unanimous selection for the New York Knicks at number 11. Let's see. Let's see if that's where he lands. I think the Spurs could be a tricky one there. Jay Boogie did call that one on last week's show. I think the Spurs could be a team to watch for Johnny Davis. Even the Pelicans as well. But let's see. See if the Knicks can get lucky there and grab that guy, Johnny Davis, with the number 11 pick. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by PrizePicks. CP the franchise here. We got Alex Rotaros, Chip Murphy, and Corey Tulliver of the No Ceilings podcast. If you guys are new in the chat, man, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. Let us know what you guys thought about our lottery selections. Leave a comment in the chat, or salute to the replay gang. Leave a comment in the video. As I said, this show is presented by PrizePicks. Daily fantasy sports made easy. You guys know this is the game that I play when the NBA season is going on, either during the regular season when the Knicks are playing or the playoffs. And it's real easy. You go to prizepicks.com to support us. You enter in your promo code KFTV. They will give you a bonus match in your deposit of up to $100. So you have some free money to play with. And then all you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 to 5 players and the player props. They have a number of statistical categories that you can choose from, whether it's points, assists, rebounds. Now, last week, I went 5 for 5, and they had a new stat. It was 3-pointers made in the first 6 minutes of the game, and this was during Golden State versus Dallas. Golden State coming off of the loss in Dallas back home. I expected the Warriors to come out guns blazing, and they did that. Klay Thompson was on fire. Steph Curry started off the game well, so I was able to hit over 1.5 3-pointers made. I also went with Klay over 17.5 points. Klay had an excellent series against the Mavs. I think he finished that game with like 27 points or maybe even 30. I forgot how much he finished with, but he finished with 32, as a matter of fact. So Klay went way over on that one. The other pick I made in that sheet was Luka Doncic under 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You know, he had 2 back-to-back 40-plus point games, so he hit that over 50 mark back-to-back, but I didn't think he was going to do that for a third time, especially in Golden State. I felt like him and the Mavs just kind of ran out of steam, and he finished with 43 points, rebounds, and assists. So I hit on that. I factored in Jordan Poole coming off the bench, giving the bench a spark at home. I went Jordan Poole over 15.5 points, and he finished with 16. And then the last one, I went with Jimmy Butler, Celtics versus Heat, Game 6 in Boston. After a disappointing Game 5 performance, I expected Jimmy to bounce back. I went over 22.5 points for Jimmy, and he finished with 47. So perfect 5 out of 5 picks there with PrizePicks. And you people at home, man, test out your luck. Play to win, but play responsibly. Once again, go to prizepicks.com, enter promo code KFTV for a bonus match in your deposit of up to $100. Okay, so we did our lottery simulation here. Now let's talk about Mitchell Robinson, man. My guy Ian Begley, shout out to Ian Begley, had a couple updates on Mitch, and obviously, you know, Mitch is going to be a hot candidate in free agency. It's going to be a big offseason for him and the Knicks, and, you know, whether or not he's going to be a Knick is still up in the air right now. So let's go to Ian Begley's comments on Mitch and his status with the team. Let's hear from Ian.
Couple notes here on Mitchell Robinson as we're about a month away from free agency. I do know that there are Knick decision makers who would like to see Robinson back with this team next year. I know that the Knicks have sent some trainers to work with Robinson in the offseason. And when the Knicks were at the Combine, they did talk to people about potential scenarios if Robinson were to sign elsewhere. But I think that's just the Knicks doing their due diligence in case Robinson were to get a huge offer from another team. I think there's an expectation that some playoff contenders will have interest in Robinson, and by my count, those contenders wouldn't be able to offer more than the mid-level exception. And so for the Knicks, they can exceed the salary cap to bring Robinson back. Obviously, the two sides did talk about extensions over the course of the season. At one point, prior to the trade deadline, I was told that they were not close on an extension, that the sides were pretty far apart. And I think there was some frustration there. I don't know if that frustration is still there, but I do know, again, that there are Knicks decision makers that would like to see Robinson come back. I don't know if that's a unanimous opinion, but it tells you a little bit about where things are with the Knicks and Robinson, as we're about a month away from Robinson's free agency.
All right, so Mitch getting courted here by some contenders. We already heard that that Detroit was a potential team with interest. Al, I'll start with you, man. What are you thinking about what happens with Mitch here with free agency starting up in a couple months?
Ooh, I feel like it's difficult, and Ian makes it difficult. You know, he in his reporting he says there's some decision makers that want Mitch to stay, but there's also some decision makers that aren't hard pressed to keep him around, and that's where you're starting to see mock drafts put like Williams and Duran in the situation for the Knicks because they could be in the need for a center, but it's so much, man. There's just so much going on because I know the Knicks are looking after Jalen Brunson. You know, there's rumors of like potential side and trades. I'm waiting that Mitch might not be back in the Knicks uniform. And I think it will be a potential sign and trade, whether he goes to the Pistons or wherever else. I feel like the Knicks are going to move him and try to get some sort of asset in return, either to help them in the draft or just help them with just the overall roster compensation for this team, because we still need point guard help. We still need offense on this team overall. And as we're seeing in the NBA, you don't need the most elite center, right? We're going to watch Robert Williams and Kevon Looney be the starting centers for both the Celtics and the Warriors respectively. So do you need to spend over the mid-level for someone like Mitchell Robinson? No, because that's what those guys are making or less. So if you can go find someone out on the market, I could see the Knicks going in that direction, but I see them wanting to get something in return for Mitch. I just don't see him coming back, though. I feel like the money that he's looking for and what teams are possibly trying to get, especially if you're like the Dallas Mavericks and you're willing to go over the cap to get someone like Mitchell Robinson, I feel like they're going to try to come in and get Mitch and do so, even if they got to use the mid-level.
Yeah, I think for me, it just really depends on the market, right? I think they are interested in bringing him back. As you heard Ian say that he is working with some of the Knicks training staff in the off season. He has dropped, some social media hints about, New York being home and I think he does want to stay, but I think I think he's going to go to the highest bidder. Me, I would keep him. I like what Mitch brings to this team, both defensively and as a guy that, will put back high percentage shots. Yes, his game needs to step out a little bit. That hasn't improved since he's been here. I think that's kind of been the most disappointing aspect of his game, even though he works on it. Like I said, just watching him in pregame shoot-arounds, he does work on his outside shots. He does work on, those 10 to 15 footers, but we just don't see it in the game, and I still think that we haven't. I still think he's a work in progress just in terms of overall play development. And I think we should continue on that track because I don't want to risk losing him for nothing. That would be terrible. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be the biggest mistake. It would have you wondering what was going on during the trade deadline, if they had anything that could have potentially helped this team going forward and, drop the ball there. You don't want to lose him for nothing. So for me, I try to get him at a reasonable deal. Is it 12? Is it 13? A reasonable deal. And then down the road, if he needs to be part of a bigger package to get you something, you consider it. But, just letting him walk out the door for nothing, I think that would be a terrible look for this front office. Chip, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you there. You can't let him leave for nothing. When they didn't trade him at the trade deadline, I immediately thought there must be some plan. Like they must have some inside track knowing that they're going to bring him back, or they have a sign and trade for Brunson in the works, something like that. But you can't let him leave for nothing. Alex brought up Robert Williams earlier. I still think the Robert Williams $12 million, 4 years, 48 contract is still a good baseline for Mitch. $12 million per year. I don't see how Mitch could want any more than Robert Williams after what Robert Williams has done during these playoffs, and his team is going to the finals.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number for Mitch, and maybe even the Knicks could ask for a little less. So I think $12 million per year, CP, you even just said it, like that's a pretty good number. And like I'm not crazy about signing Mitch long term, but if they do end up doing it, I'm not going to be super upset. And the one thing about it is I don't want to just draft a center at 11 because we're letting Mitchell Robinson walk.
Right.
I don't want that to be the reason we take a guy at 11. So that's another thing about it. And Mitch is still super young. Mitch is still really young. Yeah. So who knows?
Corey, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the key point is you can't lose the asset for nothing. That's the key point. And I look at him and I say, like, I understand the hesitancy because if you're looking at him and thinking the Knicks are going to build a championship contender, you're probably saying, how many minutes is he actually going to be playing in playoff games? Probably more towards the 20 to 25 than the, 35 to 40, right? Because he can't, maybe step out or make plays like you would want somebody in that role too. But at the same time, if you can get him for a Robert Williams type contract, that's a no-brainer. Like that's fantastic value because he's still bringing a lot of positive stuff to the team, and I mean, if that's his market, there's not anything to think about. You lock that up. If he wants more than that, it's obviously now you're starting to get into that gray area where you got to start. All right, well, we can't lose the asset for free. Might end up a little overpaid, but we could probably move off and because some team is going to want to take the chance. So I think that the Knicks probably, not to say they need to do everything in their power to keep him, but I think it has to be somewhat of a priority unless they have a guarantee that money is going to be better served elsewhere to fill other needs. But yeah, I'm a Mitch guy. I think he's incredibly impactful when he's in the game. That dude is big. He's long. He's athletic. He's an intimidator out on the floor when he's out there. And I think, a guy like Quickly, when the jump he made as a playmaker and him as a pick and roll threat, like there's no better pick and roll partner than a guy like Mitchell Robinson for a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, who's going to use the threat of his floater to be able to get Mitch some easy lobs at the hoop. I mean, he's a good fit in that regard too. So I would lean towards, try to make it work from both sides.
What do you guys think in the chat, man? Keep Mitch or let him walk. Leave a comment in the chat. So to the replay gang, leave us a comment on this video about what you guys think about the future of Mitchell Robinson. All right, last but not least, fellas, 194, the Boston Celtics are moving on to the NBA Finals, man. A Game 7 thriller in Miami. Tatum, Brown, you got Ime Udoka, first-year head coach Al Horford, the vet, going to the finals for the first time. And, this Boston Celtics unit who went to the conference finals several years in the last 5, snake-bitten, the bridesmaid, never the bride, finally getting there. First, let's start with this Butler shot, because with 16 seconds left, Heat down by 1, 98-96. Butler decides to take a pull-up 3 in transition. That sent the NBA Twitter crowd into a frenzy with a range of opinions spilling into today's discourse. Al, I'll start with you, man. What'd you think of the decision to take that shot at that point?
Looking at Jimmy Butler, who is a 23.3% three-point shooter. Wouldn't really highly recommend it for a guy who's not so good at shooting threes to take a three-pointer at that point. But I get his intensity of wanting to win the game and seal it, because Look, he played 48 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Like, he played 48 minutes. Him and Bam were the two offensive weapons for that team.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, if I have to go into overtime and continue to play these guys, it ain't happening. So I think he's trying to go for the kill shot and say, this is it, over. However, I get it. I get the frustration. It's Jimmy Butler. He's better at driving to the basket. You probably could have drawn a foul. You had Al Horford on you. All the guys were staying with their man at the 3-point line because they didn't want to give up a 3-point shot. You had Brown on Strauss, who was not going to leave him. You were not going to leave him in the corner because he just knocked some big, impactful shots down the stretch of the game. So if you see Al Horford and he's laying off you, yeah, you should probably go straight to the rack. But I get it. It's not the best shot for Jimmy, but I get the thought process of, like, I'm playing 48 minutes. Also, let's be real. We've all played pickup at some point. We played like mad runs, and you're just like, I'm just gonna pull up 3. I'm tired. I'm just gonna jack a shot, see what happens, and that's it. And that kind of had that feeling too towards the end. So let's keep it a buck.
I mean, I get it. Like, look, he was gassed, right? Game 6, he expended a lot of energy. He's got the knee injuries dealing with. He had a heroic Game 6, carrying that team with a 46-point performance. Game 7 plays 48 minutes, didn't sit one bit. But for me, that's why. And even though you said he's a 29% 3-point shooter, with Jimmy Butler, I get the inefficiency on the stat sheet, but he's such a gamer. He's such a talent that elevates his game. He's a timely 3-point shooter. And so in those big moments, I kind of trust him to take it, but not at that moment when he has no gas in the tank, man. I didn't like that shot. I didn't like the shot because, like I said, he had no legs. You could see as the fourth quarter was going on, Tatum was cooking him. He had nothing left. And so for me, I would have tried to get maybe a driving kick or try to drive it on Horford. Maybe you draw contact, you're home, put in the whistle in the Zebra's hands, but the pull-up 3, that was tough. That one was tough, man. Corey, what'd you think?
It's funny because this is the kind of scenario that, like, all the analytics folks love to be put into. And I saw 2 big-time analytics accounts arguing opposite points on how the analytics would say to either attack the rim or to shoot the shot.
Yeah.
And to me, what that says is you have to take into account the variables and all the things that he had in that moment he was feeling. He hit a similar shot in the first half on that pull-up open 3 from the same spot. He obviously, like you said, was gassed, didn't want to go to overtime. He'd have the momentum, figured maybe so in the moment, I was like, I thought there was a little more time left on the clock, that it was kind of like they're going to have more than one shot at this if it doesn't go in.
Yeah.
So I probably, it's easy to play like the hindsight, Monday morning quarterback game because he missed. Because if he hit it, that shot goes down. It's on TV packages for 20 years,
right.
So I don't know. It's so hard to say. It's such a make or miss league, make or miss shot. Obviously, he's not, Steph from 3 that you think it's a good shot, but in that moment, I get it. I get, seeing he had space, like, you're tired, you don't want to go into the con. I get the shot. I don't know how I feel about it because I could see the argument both ways as to it's a good shot or a bad shot, and the fact that he missed it leads, a little bit of credence to the fact that it wasn't the right decision. But who knows? Maybe he drives into the hoop and he gets swatted, right? And now we're talking about something completely different. So I don't know. To me, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the shot. I'm not in love with it. I wouldn't have drawn that up, but I'm not like, I wasn't pulling my hair out as a Jimmy Butler stan from when he was drafted with the Bulls.
Chip, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Yeah, because I think sometimes we forget these guys are human, and I think he just had a human reaction, and he was like, I'm the best player in the NBA right now. That's when he was probably thinking, like, I can pull up from anywhere and hit any shot. And he was just in the moment. Like, it's easy to process all these things for us and be like, oh, he should have gone to the basket. But it was late in the game, too. Who knows if he had gone to the basket, if he even would have gotten the foul call, too.
True.
Like, that may not have happened, especially with the way some of these games get ref now. And like you said, Corey, his shot might have got blocked if he'd have gone to the basket, and we'd be having the same conversation.
You got to hit free throws.
Exactly. You got to hit the free throws. It's not a perfect situation. Like at the time he was like, this is going to be the easiest shot. I have it right now. I'm going to take it. And he's, like you say, he's a timely 3-point shooter. He's made shots like that. He made shots like that in the bubble. And I have no problem with the shot because they obviously would not even be there without him. And he's been so good during the playoffs. I feel like he can get away with taking pretty much any shot he takes as long as he's a member of the Heat.
All right. So with that being said, man, I'll start with you. Golden State, Boston. Give me a prediction. In how many games?
It's going to be interesting because the Celtics have proven that they can take on best players. They took on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, took on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even though the Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton, they still also had to take on Drew Holiday. And then you play the Miami Heat, who are just a bunch of dogs with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Like, they played tough-nosed defense just like them. I see them giving the Warriors a hassle because looking at the Warriors, they didn't really – this hasn't looked like the same Warriors team that we've seen in the past, whether it was with or without Kevin Durant when they won their first chip.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like Steph Curry is that Steph Curry that right now that's pulling up, like, as soon as he steps over half court and just knocking down shots, like, and you can bank that in. Like, you can guarantee it's going to go down. Mm-hmm. And Klay has been on and off throughout the series, too. I feel like it's going to go 7 games. And even though the Warriors had compare like with like on the opposite end of the spectrum, a little bit of an easier path. You know, they played the Nuggets. They didn't play the Nuggets fully healthy. John Morant goes down with for the Memphis Grizzlies. You played essentially Luka Doncic, not even really the Dallas Mavericks. It was just Luka against the Warriors at that point. So I feel like the Warriors are. I still think the Warriors are going to take this in 7, just because they're the veteran and savvy team, and they have the experience. This will be what, their 6th, 7th NBA final that they're going to, right? So I think it's one of those two. So
6 and 8 years.
With that much, yeah. So with that much experience, you got Klay, Draymond, Steph, who just know what it's like to be there. Even with Kevin Looney, he's been in the finals as well. I feel like they're more prepared to take on this type of challenge than the Celtics, who've never been here before. They're still a very young team. And they're kind of shaky. Like, when you watch this team play, when you watch the Celtics play, they put up a lot of questionable shots.
Yeah.
Like I said that. I said some of these shots that the Celtics put up it's so questionable, mostly because of Marcus Smart jacking up a 3. But even you'll see Brown and Tatum like early, and you still have time on the shot clock, but they're just taking a highly contested 3, and you're like, what are you doing? You could drive and look for somebody else. So I'm going to take the Warriors just because I think they're the veteran team and the more savvy team in this situation. But I think it goes 7.
Earlier when the playoffs started, we were doing these weeklies, man. I told you, man, I see something with this Boston team. They just have it. They just have that it factor. And they've gone through a gauntlet. And yes, the Nets weren't a cohesive team, but they still had 2 of the best in the game. And they went through them. They got through the freak. No Middleton, I get that. But they got through. And now they just survived not a great offensive team but in Miami, but a great defensive team. And they've also passed that test. And I feel like the decision-making is questionable at times. The turnovers are a bit too high, especially in this series. But I feel like we're seeing the emergence of Jason Tatum being a complete player. The playmaking, the rebounds, finished with 10 boards yesterday. Think about 6 dimes. The scoring. I mean, some of the scoring that he did in the fourth quarter on Jimmy Butler, some of the footwork was just absolutely ridiculous. Then you have Jaylen Brown. And the Warriors haven't seen 2 shot creators like that in this playoff run that they've been on. And I just feel like Boston has the 2 stars. I think, Tatum is certainly a star. Brown as well deserves his recognition. They have the veteran presence in Smart, in Horford. Yes, they don't have the finals experience that the Warriors have, but coming up short in those Eastern Conference finals, I think they have that. I like Udoka as a coach. I like their size with Horford and Williams and Grant Williams. They're a very physical team. I think, again, this is going to be the most physical team that the Warriors have seen. I like Boston. I like how they're built. I'm going to go Boston in 7.
Don't do this to me, man.
I'm going Boston in 7, man.
Don't do this to me.
Listen,
Don't do this to me, man.
The Dubs are formidable offensive. They're ferocious. And as you said, Steph may not be where he was. He's still filthy, but you still have Clay that can get activated. You have Poole that can get activated. I think, Wiggins can show up here and there. But, I just think this Boston team just has it. And even though this is probably going to be the most formidable offense that they're going to be coming up against, I just like how they're balanced, man. I just like how Boston is balanced. I'm going Boston at 7.
Look, man, I don't need to see any more parades in the city.
Yeah, you're out there, right?
I'm done. I don't need it, especially if I got to watch a Celtics parade. All right. No, thank you. No.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm trying to get to work, bro. I'm trying to get to work. Unbothered. No traffic. All right. That is directly in my line of traffic trying to get downtown to work. No, we're not doing it.
Corey, where you go with it?
Man, I see the vision that you're talking about with all of that, and I feel like my heart is, or maybe my head is saying that, but my heart is saying Warriors in 6. And the thing about the last couple of series for the Celtics is like, these were teams that really had to muck it up. And despite the fact that they were, they had a guy like Strus and theoretically Duncan Robinson and Hero, like Robinson was off the court, Hero was injured and he was a non-factor. They really didn't have to contend with, how do I guard the perimeter? And obviously Boston has, Tatum's one of the better perimeter defenders. Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year. Like, they have those guys that can do it for sure. But it's also one of those things where, like, you have to do that while you're chasing around Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Like, are they going to have Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum chasing these guys off actions and consistently moving, and then Poole's coming in and you got to do the same thing with him after you just played 2 7-game series that were brutal and physical, and guys are banged up and you don't know who's going to be healthy from game to game. Marcus Smart is probably still feeling it. Robert Williams, who knows what's going on with him in the series. The championship savvy, Golden State's probably a little fresher with the way the path that they had and how quickly they were ending some series. And I don't know, I feel like Steph, maybe he sniffs it. I think he knows, like, the only knock on me is that I haven't gotten the Finals MVP. So let me go out. Let me go get that Finals MVP. Now, defensively, Boston's going to give Golden State problems. They have big wings that I'm not sure that Golden State is ready to contend with. Clay has not been the defensive player that he was before the injuries. I don't think a guy like Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga are really ready to handle that smoke. But if they get a locked-in Draymond who can quarterback the whole defense, and it seems like he's locked in, seems like he might be fairly healthy, I think that they could be good enough. But this is a completely different defensive game plan that Boston has had throughout this whole series. So it's good. I want to say Golden State in 6. Part of me is saying to go against that and agree with you that Boston, it just seems like it's their time. But I'm gonna keep it Golden State in 6.
Chip, how you feeling?
I wanna say the Warriors so bad and go with the Warriors because I love Steph and I want him to get that Finals MVP. I really do, and I want him to win. And I'm a gambler, and I look at the fact that the Celtics are the underdogs. And I feel like they're so happy that, again, they're the underdogs and they feel like they're just going to roll. And I'm like, betting with the Warriors is betting with my heart, which is the last thing I should do. And I got to say, can't pick against the Celtics again. I got to take the Celtics. I'm sorry, Alex. I have to take the Celtics, especially when I when I bet on the series, I'm definitely going to bet the Celtics. I feel bad saying this for Alex, but I'm going to take Celtics in 7. Celtics in 7, and I just CP, you nailed. There's something about this team where it's somebody, I think it was Tim Bontemps, wrote about this team in contrast with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it was really good. And like they have this potential to be what Oklahoma City could have been. And I don't know, man. They're really young and they're fearless. They have nothing to lose going up against this, and obviously a veteran team, way more experience. But man, I think that the fact that they're the underdog, I just love that. And I hate picking Boston. I hate Boston. I hate that I'm picking them, but I also want to be right, and I feel like this is the way to be right. So.
Gonna be a good series, man. I think it's gonna be a good series. I'm excited to see it. Gonna be excited to see the chess match between Kerr and Udoka. I think Udoka's been as advertised. First year taking on this situation, and I mean, look at the trials and tribulations they went through, and seeing where they are now. I mean, this is a way different team, man.
I mean, but the whole Udoka thing is funny because imagine that you just trade all the guys in the Celtics, you put him on the Knicks. They're 25 and 25, whatever they are. They're going through first-year coach, replacing Brad Stevens, beloved guy. He's going through that. And all the call-in to KnicksFanTV would be, we got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
Celtics fans wanted to get
rid of this guy, right?
Fans wanted him gone too.
Yeah.
So I think that it shows, like, with coaching, sometimes you got to have a little bit of patience and a little bit of trust to see the vision through.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's just like once guys buy in, and everybody is on the same page, like magic could happen. And that's what's crazy with this Celtics team. I've never seen anything like it with a team that it was just like, get these guys out. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to be a play-in team potentially, towards the end of until they went on their run. So what a season, whatever happens.
Great season.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Nah, just to add on to what Corey said. Yeah, no, and even Chip, like they wanted Udoka out of here. Like the biggest thing for him was that he kept blaming or putting the blame on the players for not playing hard enough. And they're like, this coach doesn't take any responsibility for their players. When you're looking at it right now, and obviously that's a part of it, him calling the players out, Marcus Smart calling out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then him changing his game from being a Chuck to being a true point guard and being a pass first guy and not just taking all these wild shots. Like this is all of it coming together. But the other thing I want to add on too is that, Chip, you said, I think the only thing I think the biggest thing that supports CP's point is that the Celtics have nothing to lose. Like if they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, that goes on the resume big time because they were up 3-2. I feel like not having anything, and for the Warriors, if you want to play that storyline, is that can Steph win again without Kevin Durant and having a super team? Is he capable of doing that? I think for the Warriors, especially for Steph's legacy, you can run that point
on the Warriors, don't you think?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like it is, and especially like Steph, where having won the MVP, you won 2 with Kevin Durant, and then Kevin Durant and Clay go down when you had to play the Raptors and you lose that one. Can you win with essentially something that was similar to the original team that they had? And so all the pressure's on them. So if you want to support CP's point, Celtics got nothing to lose, and they'll swing every which way and throw haymakers in order to win.
Literally throw haymakers at some point, probably.
Oh, man. Well, fellas, great show. Excellent show, man. I enjoy the mock draft. We talked a little Mitchell Robinson and recapped Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Let us know who you guys predict to win it all. Who's taking a chip this year? Is it Boston? Is it Golden State? Leave us your predictions in the chat, or salute to the replay gang. Leave us a comment at the in the comment section of the video. Let me salute the super chats that have come in real quick. Salute to Jamaica Queens 22. Says Warriors in 5. Boston makes so many low IQ mistakes. Golden State will capitalize on that. And they definitely got to, cut down on the turnovers for sure. Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't think in 5, though. I think Boston's way more competitive than that. I think they're going to give it a good fight. I95 Bully says, let's go Rangers, hashtag King Casual. Yeah, salute to the Rangers, man. 6-2, moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals against a ferocious Tampa Bay Lightning team, the champs, a couple of former Rangers on that team. So, yeah, gonna be interesting, man. But shout out to the Rangers. They really stepped up, beat this Carolina team. Carolina was undefeated at home during the playoffs. So shout out to the Blue Shirts, man, keeping the lights on at MSG. And repping the city. NY Sports Guy says, remember when the Knicks fan said Butler doesn't move the needle for the Knicks? I'm sure y'all wish we had him over Randall now. Well, I don't really remember that, but yeah.
I don't remember saying he doesn't move the needle.
Yeah. I don't know. We should trade. NY Sports Guy also says we should trade for Sharif Cooper. He's buried in ATL and maybe Trae Young light. Okay. And shout out to S.Q. Says Johnny Davis makes sense. He's a Tibbs type of guy. He's box office potential rookie of the year. All right, so Johnny Davis hive is building up early. Let's go. All right, and I think that is it, man. So, fellas, great show. And make one quick announcement to the people in the chat, man. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. If you enjoyed this show, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, and share these videos. Very important to do all those 3 things. You can do it for free. That's how you support this channel. Remember that this show is presented by PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks.com, enter promo code KFTV for a bonus match on your deposit of up to $100. Also go to Manscaped.com, use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. The Knicks Fan TV snaps are in stores. People, go to KnicksFanTV.com/shop and get your snapbacks. The new era snaps are in stores right now. Real nice. We have them in navy blue. We have them in royal blue as well. So go ahead and get yours today. And yeah, man, fellas, great show as usual. Corey, let the people know where they can find you, bro.
Follow me on Twitter at Corey Tulliba. NBA Draft Dude on YouTube, No Ceilings TV on YouTube, and NoCeilingsNBA.com. If you want all of your draft content, we have covered over 100 prospects. So we got guys deep in the second round, two-way guys, the top guys. You can subscribe. You'll get every piece of content delivered to your inbox for free Monday through Friday. And we are releasing our draft guide on Wednesday, and along with a full merch collection as well. So that's breaking news on Knicks Fan TV. And so we're excited about the drops that we got coming up this week.
All right, cool, man. Excellent job. Salute to you and all the guys at No Ceilings, man. We'll definitely have to have you back for the next mock draft. But definitely appreciate your time tonight. Chip, go ahead and let the people know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, thanks. Twitter's at ChipMurphy7. Find everything I write for Knicks TV on there. My Tyus Jones piece is pinned up at the top of my Twitter right now. So if you're a Tyus guy, check that one out. And Knicks State of Mind podcast. We've been doing some draft stuff on there now. Talked to Tennessee coach about Kennedy Chandler, Toledo coach about Ryan Rollins, Davidson coach about Hyung Jung Lee, and St. Joe's coach about Jordan Hall. It's been a lot of fun, so check that stuff out.
And Al, let the people know where they can find you, man.
Well, you can find me over at KnicksFanTV.com. You can find me over here. Make sure to support Chip and all of our other writers over at KnicksFanTV.com. We are getting our draft stuff today, or situated. We got another centerpiece coming out. We got the centerpiece, top 3 centers coming out this week. Trying to do some more draft coverage. We'll get you some free agency stuff as well, so make sure to check that out. And if you want to check out my podcast, Knicks Jets Etc., partner with Fanside and Minute Media, you can find us over at the Daily Knicks or the Jet Press, or just through the Minute Media website. And we're available on all audio listening platforms.
All right, so yeah, great show once again. All the mods, everybody in the chat who's been rocking with us, man. We will catch up with you guys next week. Thanks again. Hit that like button real quick before you leave. Have a great week. Short week. Happy Memorial Day once again.